What's going on, everyone? Barnyard here. Today is breeding day. I'm going to be going over with you guys a great strategy to try and make some HXD in this game. If you want to expand your hive, if you're looking for an ROI from a breeding perspective, that's what we're going to go for today. So we're going to break down the numbers of, HXD or soul cost for your initial investment, kind of the time frame you're looking for, the best way to go about breeding, and what kind of stats you can expect, and what kind of marketplace there is for the breeds that you pump out if you're not getting your mood match. So while we're doing that, I'll start collecting some of my HXD I have built up right now. I haven't claimed all my harvests and hunts for a minute here, so we'll start doing that while I kind of talk about the mechanics. So if you're new to the game, mechanics of breeding is you select a queen bee and you select a male bee for your breed partner. And what happens is you combine them together, you pay an HXD fee, you pay a blockchain fee, and it successfully produces a new NFT, a new bee. The variables that affect this bee are the stats of your queen and the generation of the male partner that you're using. So some of the things to keep in mind here is you have a cost for the total amount of breeds on your queens, and then it's a scaling cost for if you're using the same male bee partner over and over again. So the TLDR function of this is we're going to be using Genesis male bees as our partner when we're trying to spawn new queens, and we're going to be using Generation 1 bees when we're trying to produce new worker bees. The reason for this is there becomes a premium price paid for using the breeds of Genesis bees. And it just, again, it scales. For a while when HXD was a little bit lower in price, I did a lot of my original breeds were with Genesis bees. And I was, paying 400 or 500 HXD a piece for these breeds just to keep using them. But we'll dive into the math and we'll see that the premium you're paying by using a Genesis bee isn't necessarily worth the stat increase from the spawn, if that makes sense. So a lot of the stuff we're going to do here isn't necessarily a min-max type deal, kind of like we went through with upgrading in that video. We're looking more for a value-based. Again, assuming you have a decent amount of capital to invest and you are trying to create a bee factory, for lack of a better term here. But what we'll end up doing, sorry, almost done collecting here right now, is we will go through and we will break down the price of the various assets. We can determine a value for breed slots on queens, and we can kind of figure out the average value for the bees we're going to be producing and kind of what their resale value is. So we can calculate profitability on average, based on the assets we're investing in. So that's all our claims right there. Man, that was a good chunk of HXD, which is good because we're going to be breeding here. So if you're playing the game for the first time, you're going to go to your bee lab, you're going to go to your honeymoon suite, and this is the basic functions of how to actually breed. So we go to our honeymoon suite, you select your queen from this screen. In this case, I have, let's see here, I have this queen right down here. She is my highest stat queen. You can see I've bred her out 49 times. She is a Genesis queen. I bred her out 3 days ago-ish, 2.5 days ago, so she's still on cooldown. Next to her is a Generation 1 queen, and this particular one, you can see has almost max stats, so that's a lot of what the breeding I've done with her. From her, I've produced, 16 breeds. She has 2 remaining breed slots, and you can see these 2 bees right here, I've already bred them out the maximum of 18 times, and again, you can see they're near max 280 breeds. So for the case of this right now, we will be continuing to breed other Genesis queens, and you can see I've had them out there. And we will also be upgrading this lovely lady, who should have near max 280 stats once we upgrade her. This lovely lady, also near 280 stats once we upgrade her. And I do believe I have one more additional royal jelly to use, and I do. So we'll create one more breeding queen. So before we do that, though, you never want to breed a queen. If you're thinking, you never want to breed a non-Genesis queen unless she's level 20. The reason for this is that her level, the level of your queen that you're breeding with, is directly translated to the level cap of the bee coming off of her. So you're leaving a lot. You're paying the premium of a breed slot cost without getting the maximum output from the bee that you're breeding. So what we'll do right now, we'll go to our queen upgrades, and we will upgrade this queen to level 20. So we'll do 2 more upgrades on her. And again, the reason we're doing this is so the offsprings are, they're going to have a level 20 cap. There we go, nice little predator bee. And it might make us wait a minute. I don't know if it works for the queens. It sure does. Man, that is a pain in the butt. I can't wait till they have bulk upgrades. So, well, one thing we can do is while we are waiting for her cooldown, we can start upgrading this bee. Also, we want to get her to level 20. So, as soon as we get this predator bee to level 20, we will breed her out with a royal jelly, creating yet another queen bee we can use for breeding. So, and then we'll alternate between those two, leveling them up, and, well, this one too. So that's kind of the plan while we're doing that. And while I am leveling them up, I can start to go over some of the charts that we're going to use to help you factor in your breedings. Let's see here. So this is the bee gospel when it comes to breeding, and this is how you determine what the stats are going to be of your bees. As you can see, your queen bee stats directly affect the stats of the breed, right? So a quarter of it. So right off the rip, you're looking 280 divided by 4, right? That's 140. So 70. You could have a max base of 70 stat points right off of a queen bee at 280 stats. What gets added next is a rarity bonus, and this is complete RNG. For the purpose of this video, we are going to use an average of 52.55 is going to be our average rarity bonus when we go to calculate some of these things. And then what happens after that is you end up getting your breeding stats multiplier, male bee multiplier weighted based on generation. And the male bees, their contribution to this is based on their generation, not the stats of the male bees. And that's one thing that kind of gets confused a lot of times here, is the only stats that actually translate over are going to be your female stats, the queen bee stats. So what you see here is you also have, so you have your RNG of base stat points plus your non-RNG base stat points of your queen getting passed down. And then you will take those numbers and you will multiply it by the RNG, also RNG right here, and you can see the percentage chance. You have your Genesis B chance. You have a 0% chance at a 1.1 multiplier boost to their stats, and also a 1.2. So it's a higher floor comparatively than if you're using a Gen 1, Gen 2, or Gen 3 bee. And you also have a much higher ceiling too, right? You have a 17% chance of having called the monster bees, right? So dang near a 2%, or yeah, a 2x on the stat multiplier bonus. So our friend Zalex actually has a nice chart here that he shared with me that kind of breaks down the average percentage, over all your bees that you can kind of expect. With the Genesis, you're looking on average about a 1.711 breed or generation multiplier compared to the Generation 1, which is a 1.61%. And then you can see Gen 2 is a 1.5 and a 1.356 for Gen 3. What you can kind of expect on average, so I guess that's what we want to multiply right there. You can see if you had the best RNG in the world, you get the 1.9 multiplier using a Genesis B. Scales with the queen of 280 stats across the board. That ends up being a 233 stat B. Some of these bees are just absolute monsters. I've been seeing some breeds lately that just, they're so good. So I guess we could just multiply. How do we break that down? Get our spreadsheet here. So I don't want to cancel that right now. So we have, say, a 280 stat B would be 70. What do we say on average? 52.55. So you get the auto sum. So on average, you should be looking like around a 122-ish point base B per stat, and that's, then you multiply by the the 1.9. That's where you get the 233, I presume. 1.9. And I guess we can just, again, sorry for my, no, we don't want some, though, is the problem. You know what? I have a calculator. I'm better than this. And Excel is not my strong suit, as you can probably see. Yeah, that's exactly it. So it rounds up to 233. Again, I know there's functions. Sorry, Excel people. So I guess what we could do is if we take the average of using a Genesis B, 1.711 and or 1.61, 711, and then the other thing we can do, 122.55, 1.61, and then we want product. I do know that we want product. More functions. We want product. Hey, there we go. Man, I'll tell you what. I am good. And then we'll do the same thing right there. So, you can roughly expect, on average, from a Genesis male bee with a Gen 1 queen with 280 stats, it should be roughly an average of 210 stat points for your breed offspring. If you're using a Gen 1 male, you're looking at roughly 198 stat point average for the offsprings. We can go back here. So I max upgraded my Predator Queen. I will upgrade these two so we can, keep doing the minute cooldown counter on them, and I'll go through a breed real quick with my new queen that I'm about to spawn from the Predator Queen. So, in this case, I'm going to be using my Gen 1 queens to produce my next Generation 1 queens. And we'll go over we can monetize the breed count of these queens is one thing we'll go over here in a second. So we'll go to our honeymoon suite real quick. Predator Queen, max 20. In this case, I want to be using a Genesis male. It's not a Genesis male, so we'll go ahead and filter that. And as you can see, most of my Genesis male bees have high breed costs because I've bred them out so much. I guess instead of clicking on it, I could just scroll through and look at one with a 0. Right there. Perfect. And in this case, I want to produce another queen, and that's where the royal jelly comes into play. So if you guys aren't familiar with the royal jelly item, this is what lets you create other queens. You can do an epic, and it just breeds another queen. If you do a legendary, it is a 3.8% better stats, and then the mythic is 7.5% stats. I have found that even if you have, top of the line, top tier bees, you're still playing the RNG game between a mythic and a legendary royal jelly. So in my case, if I'm playing RNG regardless, I would rather go to breeds as opposed to the one. Hence why I use legendary royal jellies as opposed to a mythic royal jelly. And we'll go ahead and do that. Let's get the royal jelly selected, have our bee partner selected. And we'll go ahead and breed. We do not care about mood because this is not our primary queen. You also notice there's about a 20 HXD fee right now. That's the blockchain transaction. It's the gas cost for creating an NFT, which is exactly what we're doing. So that's our main chart. That's kind of our breakdown chart. We have our spreadsheet chart. This is the breeding cost chart that I showed you. The first breed we're using, 150 honey. If you do a second breed with that same bee, it's going to cost 200 honey, and it's progressive more and more and more. Select give permission through Soul. There we go. And here's another nurse bee we just spawned. So you can see RNG wasn't quite with us at this point. I don't exactly remember what 263 will give us. I think it's going to be like around 275 is going to be our final stat total for it. So not the best bee, but she'll still be pretty solid. Here we're going to go back to continuing to upgrade our queens. I'm going to need more. So while I continue to upgrade these queens, we'll start breaking down some of these other costs. So, initial cost right off the front. We're going to have our gas cost. We're going to have our breed cost. And we're going to have breed count cost. Now what this is going to refer to is if you have a Generation 1B, you're going to have a max of 18 breed counts. Once the 18 breed counts come up, that queen effectively becomes just a hive leader for a lower entry point player, if that makes sense, right? How queen boosts work is if you have matching mood throughout your hive as you're getting your queen boost, the higher the generation, the better percentage boost of your stats. So I actually did a guide, my dog, was it my Tuna Tuesday guide, kind of like an entry zone for, I think I did a 10 soul entry. And one of the main points you wanted to try and do is identify a cheap, high stat generation 1 queen, and that's what you wanted as your hive leader, and you want to build your hive around that. So there is a definite market for them, even if they're expired from breeds. And breeding is more of a whales game, to be honest with you. And then as we continue to increase our daily active users, there will be more and more pressure for, strong queen assets. Ideally, if you can afford a Genesis queen, that is the way to go right off there. You don't have to worry about breed slots if you just want to focus on cranking out bees and not having to worry about optimizing your partners, optimizing the spawn coming out of them. So we can calculate the premium count, the breed count cost. We can calculate by we will take the cost of a virgin queen bee and then compare it to a fully bred out queen bee with equal stats, right? So we can do that by going to the marketplace, both in game and also on Magic Eden. But while I'm doing these upgrades right here, we'll just go ahead and check it out on Magic Eden right now. So we'll go to Generations Queens. And we will filter by... Man, I can't wait till Magic Eden has a little bit better integration as well, so you can filter by a sliding stat scale, well, like we have actually in the in-game marketplace. It's so convenient. Let's see here. Man, this is always a pain in the butt. We can do mate count 0, right? Okay. And you can kind of see like the cheapest mate count 0, but the stats are going to be booty. Man, and then you also have to factor in the price cost of upgrading your queens. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. We can do that too. We can sort by level. We're going to want level 20. We'll go ahead and check the stats on that, right? So this is a queen. She has, oh, there we go, mate cap of 6. So we also need to filter for that too. Mate cap 18. All right, so these are going to be our virgin bees. And as you can see, mate cap of 18, mate count of 0, which means she has not been bred out yet. And then you can check her stats. So in this case, she's level 20, which is one of our other filters. But if you notice here, her stats are suboptimal, right? So we're looking at 240s with the occasional 250 or 260 in there. So the spawn is going to be a lot less on average than what we're trying to shoot for. Remember, because these numbers are based on a 280 max stat queen. So we got to move up a little bit on our prices. Sorry, I'm trying to keep upgrading these queens as I'm doing this. 2.87 soul, and again, suboptimal stats. 3.4 soul, 250s with a 280 agility, slightly better, 260s in there. Almost 3,000 HXD, and boom, that looks to be our sweet spot, right? So what do we say, 29.31, and then HXD is at, I think, 17 cents right now. 29.31. 0.17. Go ahead and copy this formula. We're killing it with our multiplication here. So $500, so roughly 5-ish SOL right now for a virgin damn near max stat queen. So that actually seems, that's pretty cheap comparatively. About a month ago, you're looking closer to 10, 9, 10 SOL for that same comparable type queen. So markets cooled down a little bit. I think that has to do with I think a lot of people catching on with the optimal breeding strategy, in addition to not quite the user expansion to meet up with the bee need as of right now. So I would argue that's very undervalued and very good value if you're trying to produce a high quality breeding factory as of right now. So if we calculate that at, we'll call it again 5 sols, what we'll call that at $400, $500 ish. Next, we want to calculate. Sorry, I'll give you guys an update real quick. 2 more. And then I'm going to have to go craft some more legendary queen upgrades. So comparatively, we can factor in that price, and then we can factor in the mate count of 18, which is, once the queen is fully bred out, we can get a decent idea of how much they're selling for otherwise. So again, listed at 1.3 SOL, very suboptimal stats. Guess we got to go through all of these. If they're listed in HXD, they should be on the site. If they're listed in SOL, those are the ones we need to check out. Again, 260-ish, so it's getting there for, man, 1.5 SOL. Roughly before, we were looking at half the price for a bred out queen is what the ratio-ish was, and we can see it right there pretty close, 270 across the board plus, and yeah, 2.5 SOL. So that was the ratio that we were looking before. You were losing about half your value. Half the value was derived from the breed count. And we'll see that right here, right? So 270s, yeah, 270s across the board for 1,600 honey. For 1,500 honey, you're looking 270s across the board. So that's about on point, right? We're looking around 1,600-ish. 0.17. Yeah, copy the function. I know, we can do it. So $270-ish. So what you can do then is you can subtract the 2. So you got 500 minus 272 is 228-ish, we'll call it. Run it, make it nice and easy number. So $225 difference. Again, monetary value right now. Actually, while we're here, I'm out of my legendary queen upgrades, so I'm going to be making some more. I'm going to need 6, 12, 17 more, so we'll go ahead and do that real quick. You guys can see my inventory here with all my shards. 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, for $225, that's the cost essentially of 18 braids is what we just calculated. So we'll take that 225, we'll divide it by 18, and that can be our, I guess, our breed count cost that we can factor into our breeding as well. Again, all these markets, they fluctuate based on, one, the demand for the assets. If bees are flying off the shelves, obviously price is going to go a little bit higher. If we have more of a lull for daily active users and user acquisition and just the demand for them, the price will go down a little bit, right? In addition, honey, obviously HXD has its own market as well, so price will go up and down with HXD. That's one thing we noticed maybe a couple months ago, is when the price of HXD went from 3 cents and parabolic up to 33 cents over the course of a month or so. Well, the actual NFT prices, the bees, the land and stuff, only did closer to a 2 or 3x compared to the 10x that the actual token did, right? So when that kind of thing happens is you can make an argument that, well, your ROI is going to be better, so the NFTs become undervalued, and or the token itself becomes overvalued. It's a fine line when you're trying to calculate, values of a lot of these things. Man, I just made a extra crap ton of these that I didn't need. But I digress. We'll keep plugging along, and then I'll show the breeds once we get them to level 20. Where do we go? Here we go. So if we factor in 225, we'll divide that by 18 breed slots. Let's see here. More functions. What's the opposite of a product? Man. No, we don't want payment. Oh, here we go. Divide? The quotient. There we go. Maybe quotient. Quotient of. Oh man, what's the opposite of man? This is embarrassing. You guys can all laugh at me for not knowing this basic math. Opposite of product. The remnant. All right, we're killing it. We're gonna figure this out. Son of a bitch. Yeah, I know. I've entered too few arguments. Yeah, I know. There we go. Alright, we're going to try this one more time. And again, you guys can just keep laughing at me. No. This is horrible. I'm just going to use the calculator function. That'll show. Divided by 18. Man, this is embarrassing. So 12 and a half. We figured it out. So we're looking at $12.50. Remember, that's the unit we're using here. Is our breed count cost. So if you factor that into HXD right now, that's 74-ish HXD. That's not how that works. Is it? I guess that is how it works. Yeah, there we go. 74-ish HXD at 17 cents a piece right now is what it costs. Then you have your breed costs. For the sake of argument right now, we're just going to say you're using version Gen 1Bs, so 150 HXD. And then your gas cost, as we already found out, is about 20 HXD. So your current cost right now, you're looking around 250-ish. Because you're going to have a little bit of fluctuation, right, between price of HXD and the gas costs and stuff like that. You're looking roughly 250 HXD to produce an offspring. One other thing we can also calculate here is, I think the most efficient way to get your male partners, right, for your breed cost count is you're going to want a Gen 1 egg. And then you're going to want to sell that after you use a breed count for Gen 1 Floor B. And we can also calculate the difference there, right? Because you're using it for a breed, and then your resale value. And I guess we could calculate the difference, although I think it's pretty minuscule. I want to say it's like $5 if I'm not mistaken, just off the top of my head. Man, I gotta keep upgrading these queens too. I'm getting excited just talking. So we figured out our queens. Generations Bs. So we'll go ahead and figure out what the floor of a Gen 1B is once traits. Once we can do that. Maybe. Maybe we'll do eggs first. HoneyLand generations, eggs, filters, there we go. Generation 1, you can see a 0.51 soul. Might as well take this over here. .51 soul. And then we'll see what the resale value of a floor bee with one breed on it is. Generations. Bees. Give me, there we go. So we're going to want generation. Gen 1 is a 0.21 floor. 133 HXD. I guess we want make count of 1. Not much of a floor, huh? 0.16, 0.15. That doesn't make sense. I guess the floors are... Go point... I guess that really doesn't count. 133 honey. Yeah, I guess we're just looking 0.2-ish. Make count 1. 133 honey. Times 0.17. So that's 22-ish dollars, I guess. It's like 2.2-ish soul. Man, I thought the resale value was much better than that. Okay, so 0.22 soul. So 0.51 minus 0.22. 0.2-ish, and we'll call it 0.3 soul is what you're spending as well. And then, so $30 divided by the honey. So 176. Man, I guess that's higher than I thought it was. Male partner cost 175-ish HXD as of right now. So you're looking at 420-ish HXD cost to breed a bee, assuming you're trying to go premium asset, right? Like you're going top tier queen, you're going a generation 1 male partner, and then recycling both that queen once the breeds are dried up, and recycling that male bee once his breed has been used. The other thing you could do is, I guess you could double up, and you could go, you get 2 breed costs out of it. I guess how's the math work on there? You're getting 2 breed costs. Yeah, so you add 150. You'd add 50 there, but you're getting divided by 2. Yeah, so 175, and then divide that by 2, so 90. That's a little bit more reasonable. Yeah, so if you take a generation 1 male bee, your male egg, you hatch the generation 1 egg, you buy that egg for 0.5 soul. You hatch the egg, you get your bee. You do 2 breeds out of that bee. It's going to cost you 350. I guess we got to double that then, though, because your cost, well, that's the average of the cost. And then you're splitting it up between 2. I think my math works out on that, right? So between the 2 breeds is you're paying 150, and then you're paying 200 HXD, so that's an average of 175 per breed. And then your breed count cost of the queen still stays the same because you're just using 1 breed count there. And then because you're getting 2 breeds out of it, it halves the, I guess, the the cost of buying the egg for you. I think my math is right on that. I mean, it might be woefully wrong, and that throws off our whole equation. So if that's the case, I'm going to get a double check before I publish this and go from there. But yeah, so you're looking at roughly 360-ish HXD to produce a high quality bee. With that in mind, we can calculate that our average-ish bees from these partners should be looking at roughly 198 stat count across the board. So what we can do from there, sorry, it's taking forever for me to upgrade these queens. Boo, the 1 minute cooldown, killing me. So what we can do is I could just upgrade these and call it a day. Probably should have done this beforehand. You guys get to deal with me as I'm doing this. We can go ahead and check the marketplace. And because we got the cool sliders here on the HoneyLand marketplace, man, it is awesome. If we were to go up to, hell, even just 195 across the board, average-ish stats, we can kind of see what to expect on average with a lot of these breeds. And again, you're going to have your outliers. You can have some of your monsters with the 230 stats, which, I mean, I've listed and I've sold quite a few bees at like the 1400 to 1600 honey HXD price, and have not had a problem selling some of these monster bees. Talking, an average of 230 stats across the board. That's not to say though that you won't get these stinkers with like 160 stats, right? Because it's all average, it's all statistics. Well, crazy. One bee listed with all those stats. Marketplace must be bugged. What's going on here? Filter, I guess that's 190 across the board, huh? Reset. What do we have here? I guess one thing we could do is we could filter by price, huh? Are we able to do that? We are able to do that, but I don't think we're able to filter by price. What if we go based on agility? Because that's the main thing. The agility cutoff, 183. Man, either there are not many bees listed or my marketplace is bugged. So we'll go ahead and look. Maybe there's just not a lot of bees listed. Are we still on generations? We sure are. We're going to want to select by generation. I guess we want Gen 2, right? Because we're looking for some monsters here. Let's see, most of them are listed in Soul. 110 HXD. Yeah, you can see it. That's a crappy bee. We also want. This will help us sort it out. It looks like the marketplace right now is a little bugged, so we'll go ahead and try and get a more accurate price point for what we're doing there going forward. But if we go level cap of 20, this will help us get a little bit better gauge. And yeah, right off the rip, you can see. Again, level 20, 150 for their stat range. Yeah, 140 for their stat range. If we're paying, what do we say we're paying? 360 HXD to breed a bee. We'll see around that price point if there's any good deals, quote unquote. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, go to the 300 HXD range. Yeah, you can see right there. Boom, right off the rip. 160s, 180. That's a crap bee. No offense to anyone. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be using that word. It is that's not the stat wise bees that we're looking for, right? We're trying to produce the high quality assets with this setup, with this breeding setup. We're using premium queens, we're using, a premium Gen 1 bee as our partner. And we're gunning for ideally monster bees, like 230 stat across the board. But if we can get an average of 190, that's doing good there. So you can see right here, we're spending, man, 300 HXD and we're still not even getting near 200 bees. Bump this up. What do we say? 360. So we'll see what we have available for our break-even cost, essentially. 170s, 150, 360 right there, 170, 180. Again, 204. Right there, that's about an average. That's about on average what you can expect, right? That's your, oh, see, level 1. Should be level 0. They already upgraded that one once. I would say on average, that's off the top of my head, that's right around 194-ish. 198 is the stats we're looking for. That's still below average stats for what we should be breeding. Check this bad boy out. Again, 190s, low 190s. 180s there. Man. Getting our butt kicked. I wish Magic Eden had sliders. That's the only thing that I can't stand. So even here, prime example, listed for 400 honey. 212 luck. The endurance is low. That's the sub-average stats for what we should be expecting from our breeds. So the same one I exactly just looked at? Sure is. Click on the same one over and over again. Yeah, again, listed right here. And you can see this activity. Let's see here. 500 soul. Is that just going to be an image? I want the overview. I don't want the picture of it. Come on, my guy. So for 500 honey, it bugs there. 239553. This bee just sold for 500 HXD, and we can see what its stats are looking like. I think this will give us a good idea of what the market's looking for right now. Pricing NFTs is half the battle in this game. Let's see if we can find another comparable. All right, there we go. That one as well. So that's close to our cost basis point for what we're spending on bees. We'll look that one up next. Wow. How the heck did this bee just sell for 500 HXD? It's not even a rare trait. I have no idea. That one blows my mind. Man, that's crazy. 203000. We'll check this one out. And, this one just sold for 328 soul. Wow, again with these stats. I don't know what the heck is going on here. I guess this just proves my point, right? Is that the market is either, if you're producing high quality assets, you're going to make HXD on them. You're going to make money. That's kind of what we're seeing right now. Sales might be a little bit slower. You might have to adjust your price point, but 450 soul. 231484. Go ahead and check this bad boy out. Two, 31484. Is that the same one? Bucket hat and a jacket. Look different. Let's see other big sales that we can kind of use to comp. That's not even the same bee. Come on now. Two, 231484. 231484. Okay, well, at least it showed us stats here. Alright, there we go. This is populating a little bit better. Looking right here. So this bee just sold for 450 soul. You can see the stats are, wow, they had good luck on their agility and their luck. Capacity 210 and their endurance is 211. So that was a good breed. So this is above average breed. So, I mean, if you can get some good RNG you're looking at, making, that's actually a pretty good deal, I would think. That seems like that was, they probably could have listed a little bit higher, would have been my guess with that. Where's the other one then? 625. Let's look at this guy. Okay. Wow, endurance level 8. They upgraded the endurance. Okay. Um, that's a nice bee as well. Man, the endurance shards you got to spend on that. What else were we looking for? There was one more I could have swore we went by. 625. But my main point still is here, right? Is that there we go. This is about an average level 10. Man, they upgraded. Okay. Killing it with the upgrades, I suppose. We're looking for some non-upgraded bees. 450. There we go. Yeah, perfect. So I would assume this is probably close to an average-ish bee, right? You're looking stats like right around the 198 mark, the 200-ish mark. I would assume on average this is going to be like your kind of normal bee, right? Sold for 450 soul. So I mean, you're looking at roughly a 90 HXD profit just for popping out this bee. Again, it's going to fluctuate between lower end, higher end. Some of the monsters, though, if you produce a monster, it's going to scale really crazy. Like I said, I've sold some for the whole 1500, 1600 HXD range, depending on how good they are. But a lot of it turns into mood match. You can do the OTC for for trying to find your mood. But as of right now, breeding is still profitable. As we get more DAUs and the demand for bees continues to go there, it's going to turn into a demand for higher quality bees. So I guess my conclusion after doing the math here is that I would say my estimation is you'd be making around roughly 90 HXD per breed, assuming this strategy would be kind of my guess. Again, you might have lower RNG where you're hopefully breaking even on it. You might have higher. Hell, even if you have, you can set yourself up so you make money, right? You just list it a little bit higher and you got to hope that the market adjusts. But I think 90 to 100 HXD profit on average per breed is probably the sweet spot. So if you guys watch this, feel free to comment, message me, tag me in Discord, whatever you want to do. If you found something different, if you think my numbers are off, I'm just here to learn as well. So I don't want to edge you guys. So I'm almost done with my upgrading here. We're closing in on it, so I can at least show you guys the last few breeds before I stop the stream. You guys can kind of see and hope we get some good RNG with our breeds coming out. Did I just upgrade this nurse? But yeah, so that's the TLDR I have. Looking at around 360 HXD to breed. I'd say an average of like 450 HXD for a sale. So around roughly 90-ish HXD profit per breed on average for assuming you don't get monsters and assuming you don't get the lemons. But where this can scale though is you're talking, and I'll even show you right here once I get my queen farm, quote unquote. But yeah, we'll just do that right now. You're talking right now, I'll be running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll be having 5 of my monster queens, and I can breed them. Man, it's a 4-day cooldown. I just bred her earlier. 4-day cooldown. So every 4 days, if I pop out, 100 HXD after the cooldown's done. That's 100 HXD every 4 days. Call it, twice a week. So 200 HXD a week per queen, and then you can scale that up. If I'm running 5 queens, that's 1,000 HXD a week. That's, at current prices, that's $170 just for producing high quality assets that the ecosystem needs. Again, a lot of other factors in this. We're going to be doing Gen 1 bees with 0 to 1 mates. Don't care about the mood, not my primary queen. See what other bees have been selling on the marketplace here. I guess that's the other thing, is that they do soul. Trust these transactions. Come on, mullet. Alright, let's see. Here's the breed for that queen. Nice little thriller jacket. B. So this is the Genesis queen, so on average the stats are going to be a little bit lower, but for the most part that's pretty good. I've noticed the main stat that kind of dictates floor prices a lot of times is going to be the endurance stat, right? Because everyone's looking for the next zone up. This case, it's a very good one because you're talking one. Oh gosh, I just did the math the other day. One rare endurance upgrade will boost this 3 points to zone 6 at 200. So that's a pretty good breed for a Genesis queen. I know we can do another round of upgrading now. So we'll go ahead and upgrade Velma first. We'll go ahead and upgrade the Pirate second. And we'll go ahead and upgrade the Nurse third. Alright, we'll go ahead and go back to breeding. Honeymoon Suite. We'll be doing another Genesis Queen right now, and we'll be doing a Gen 1 partner. 0 breeds before we start recycling to our 1 bred out already. Go ahead and breed that. Don't care about mood stabilizer. Go ahead and look at some more recent sales. Again, hoping for price point. This might be a pretty solid B. 50 bucks. So we're looking 17 times 4, so like the $60-ish range is kind of our, $50 is kind of the break-even point, so that's a little bit under, but we'll see what the stats are. Oh, wow. Way underwhelming stats for 0.45 soul, in my opinion. Oh, breed's ready. Oh, Hawaiian shirt with the phone. And there we go. As you can see, another Genesis Queen B. This is my Genesis Queen with the lowest average stats, so you can kind of see it reflects in the spawn right there. Although it's still not bad, but that's about on point with what to expect from her. It is good, though, that our highest stat is endurance as well, right? We get that zone 5 multiplier, which is huge. I think sub 190 is zone 4, so that's the next like tiered floor, I guess, if you're looking for floor values of bees. We'll go to hatching machine, or not hatching machine. What are we doing? Get your shit together, Chris. Upgrade. We'll go Velma. 2 upgrades left. We'll go Pirate. And we'll go our Nurse. This will bring her to level 20. And you can see we saw. Oh, so she's maxed out now. You can see her stats, all 277s plus. That's kind of, again, pending RNG when you're creating these new queens. That's about roughly what to expect. Like I said, maxed her out. Perfect. You can see the Velma, again, 276, 280, right around there. She'll get a 276 for attack, 277 bonus for the other ones. Is this the Pirate Lady? No, that Pirate Lady. 277s across there. So far my luck, knock on wood, has been that all of my upgraded queens have been 276 to 277 minimum stat, with, you know, majority of their stats being 280s. So that's what I'm using for the breed partners, and right around those averages, and that's the numbers we calculated here. So hopefully I can get this done. I don't need the timer. There we go. So we'll do our last few breeds right there. And yeah, hopefully I'll list those bees, and hopefully can make a profit on these bees, right? And again, that's one thing that's kind of speculative, right? I'm obviously very bullish, but I'm under the assumption we will continue to keep gathering daily active users, new players that want to play the game, want to invest in the ecosystem, and they're going to be the ones buying these bees. So scarcity, demand, use case, it's going to drive the prices up for these bees, in my opinion. So don't need a mood stabilizer. Go ahead and breed this bee out. Keep checking floor prices. So this is one of our monster queens, so hopefully we get a little bit better stats on average. Maybe we'll breed some monster bee out of this guy, out of this girl. Keep looking at recent sales. Oh, see, here we go. 1100 honey. Level 0. Man, that is a monster breed. What generation is Gen 2? So here's the breed I just came up with. So from that monster queen, you can see the lowest stat was 198. That's very good. Endurance 200. That's good. That's the next milestone. 230 would be the Zone 7 milestone. 270 obviously Zone 8. But I don't think that's possible to breed a Zone 8B right off the rip. But you can notice slightly above average stats, with average being 198. That's a pretty good B. That's one I'd list for probably 750 HXD, maybe 800-ish. I'd have to check on the floor price of endurance currently, but that's a B. Yeah, I'd feel very comfortable and hope I can make 300 HXD profit on that B, 400 HXD profit on that B if it costs us 350 to create it. We'll go ahead to our next queen here. We'll do another one of our monster Gen 1s. Hopefully we have some more good RNG. Hopefully we just create an absolute beast of a bee. That's the goal. Unsuccessful. Let's try it again. Unsuccessful. Do we have to back out maybe? Select our queen. Select our mate. There we go. But yes, I mean, this is the goal right here. If you can breed a monster like this, and man, I think they undersold it for 1100 HXD, to be honest with you. This is one I would probably list at 1500 to 1600 HXD, just because the endurance is so high, and then the capacity and the agility and recovery are all 220 plus. Like, those are the main stats you're looking for these harvesting bees. Man, whoever got that is a pretty good deal in my opinion. Here's my hatch, and you can see right there, boom. I would say that's probably average. That's probably an average breed right there. Endurance 196. A little bit lower than we're hoping for. 200 again is that magic number. Everything else pretty average. I'd list this bee probably for 450, 500 HXD, I would think. And we can even go price check that real quick. Man, I guess 196. If we want to be super specific with it, we could check endurance. What do we say? 196. Just type that in. And we can see bees with, again, obviously 196 endurance. 350 HXD. Yeah, there we go. That's comparable stats to what we just hatched. Everything right around that 200-ish stat count. So, yeah, we're looking 350 HXD. That's our cost. That's about what we can hope to expect for an average bee like that. Although I guess comparatively, it's a thin floor, right? That 350. That one should sell before this one does, obviously. Well, not obviously, but theoretically, unless you have a matching mood boost. But like comparatively, 450. 350, thin floor, 0.586. Yeah, right around, so that's around the, it looks like that's around the sweet spot, is that 350 HXD, but with a thin floor. Mood creates a lot of the demand for these bees, right? So that's one thing too, is hopefully you get an in-demand mood, it might sell quicker. But these bees right now listed are right around that cost, right around small profit margin for an average breed from what I can kind of tell. At least that's my opinion on it. And again, might be way off base. And maybe the market's cooled down a little bit more than I originally thought. But again, as we get more people, demand kicks up. This isn't necessarily a get rich quick scheme by any means, but this is a build your asset in a steady, healthy manner, in my opinion. And this is one thing that will scale as we get new daily active users, right? The more people that play, the more demand for bees, so on and so forth. So we'll do our last monster queen breed real quick, see what we come up with. Maybe that's one thing I can start doing. I can either start streaming or I can start recording, once, twice a week, and I can just do all my breeds in one sitting. And if you guys like that, you guys can start doing an auction or lay claim to these bees as they pop them out. If one of them matches your mood or you guys are interested in a bee, something like that. It's on over counter, maybe something we can work on potentially. Oh, the double honey bear honey helmet. And womp womp, that is an underwhelming bee. Capacity is nice, endurance could be better, but I mean, actually, I guess yeah, the agility is low, luck is low. Health, attack, defense, in my opinion, not really a huge deal yet. PvP is not really on my radar of focuses so far with HoneyLand. It will be eventually, though, just not right this second. And we'll do our last Genesis Queen breed real quick. But yeah, I guess, man, this is probably right around an average. This is probably around a break-even breed session. That's one thing I can do is I'll start keeping track of the breeds I have. Not this time but going forward when we do these, I'll start recording every time I do a breed session, and we can kind of figure out. We can track if it's profitable or not. I think that could be a cool little series. So this will be our last breed here. Hopefully we get a monster instead of daydreaming about all the recent sales. Alright, AK and the Karate Gi. Of course, there we go. We get the the good stats are attack and defense. Perfect. Endurance, you can see under 190 is zone 5. This would be a suboptimal B. Although I will say, when you're breeding a Genesis Queen, you do not have to factor in the breed count cost. Or the breed count cost. Right? Because you have unlimited breeds with the Genesis Queen, but your average stats are going to be lower. Just something, I guess, the math wise, right? So that would save you, if you can get your average cost is closer to like 275 HXD, and it's just the gas, the breed cost of your male, and then filtering the males through. But yeah, so I mean that's breeding in a nutshell. That's at least the strategy I'm going to be going for, and I mean we can actually like I said, we'll test the validity going forward. Once, twice a week, I'll go through and I'll breed out. How many queens do I have now available? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, soon to be 8, and then yeah, I'll try and I'll get to 10 queens, and I'll do 10 breeds a week in one session. We can kind of track and see what exactly happens with there. That'll be our little ongoing series. So thanks for joining me. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Appreciate it. Bye.